So trade recap from London session. I took a loss and I missed two opportunities for a short. One was absolutely my own fault. So I'll get back to that. Okay, so high time frame, what we're looking at after this huge drop, DeepSeek panic on NQ, price is rebounding quickly. We have FOMC this evening. So I'm curious, I think that will create some volatility, but for now, price has broken this level, showing bullish price action, but is currently inside a 4 hour, it's not marked, but a 4 hour bearish fair value gap. Here you see the daily volume imbalance. ES is already in there and NQ is slowly getting there. So when I look at the 1 hour, my assumption was that seeing that price is currently in this level, that if we want to move up, we need to move down a bit first. So what was I looking at? So this was the morning recap. It was the trade, and what I could immediately see is that price was showing major SMT. So on the high time frame, we have an SMT already here between ES and NQ. So especially after London opened and we had this manipulative move up, my assumption was that we could expect some bearish price action, in a sense that a move down was more likely than a move up. So I saw this 5-minute fair value gap. For the rest, there was not too many clean levels. I saw this 1-minute fair value gap, and my idea was, after this sell-off, actually ES was already reaching these comparative levels, so it was already printing a bullish SMT. So there were some conflicting signals, but overall my idea was that a move down was more probable than a move up. So price broke through this M1 IFVG now, support, and then a move up. But I saw with this move up, we also had a move back to EQ, which for me even to the 62. So for me, that was an interesting part to consider a short. So there was another M1 level created, and my idea was, once this one breaks on the M1, I go short on the fair value gap and I target this level. So that would look something like this. My stop would be up here and my target would be here for a 215 trade. As you can see, for all those interested, show my executions. I went short here, price went my way, but then immediately reversed after. I will turn, so that was my loss. And price immediately moved up and created another SMT, bearish SMT, but now on the lower time frame. So there was a lower high for ES and a higher high for NQ. And then price quickly sold off. And in the meantime, while this move was happening and I was stopped out, I was reviewing, okay, what could I have done differently? And I did it in the beginning, but not during this trade. So that's sloppy from my end. The M5 actually showed a clear level here. And then I saw, okay, I also need to be show some respect for price action, for the volatility, for the divergences going on. So I'm going to have a more patient approach. This, I think, was also the lesson for the loss. When the volatility is so high, I should, especially when you have clear levels, right? Because we do not only have this level, but also this level with a large inefficient move. Then it's better to be more patient and not chase a trade on the M1, but wait for clarity on the M5. I record my trade ideas also in TradingView, and I'm going to show you a snippet of the moment that we saw this candle forming, also to show you what was actually my idea of the trade. on the 5-minute, you can actually see that price wants to move down. Now actually NQ is paving the way, while at first it was ES showing heavier price action, while NQ was still printing higher highs, forming not only a high time frame SMT but also a lower time frame SMT. What I expect here is price to reach this 5-minute fair value gap, maybe bounce a bit, retest, and then move down. And my expectation is, or likely is that once EQ gets to this level, ES is likely to get somewhere here in this region. Seeing just the whole price action is just so much heavier than what NQ is doing. So I'm waiting for the M5 close below the state change in the state, and I will look for a short setup. So lo and behold, my idea of the trade was quite correct, because this was the M5 close. Price indeed tagged the M5 and went up. So my idea now was to place a short in such a way that I would target, or at least go short on the change in the state. And while I was at it, I actually adjusted it to this teeny tiny fair value gap. So I actually placed it here in terms of level, by the way, not there. So I had my level ready. Okay, well, you catch the drift. This means, okay, so I had my stop here, or at least my short here, and I was targeting at least the wick or the bottom part of the FVG, because it could potentially bounce as well. But in the end, this level and the lower level for ES was my target. So you could see the level that I drew out exactly got hit. Here, unfortunately, my entry did not get tagged. So I was just watching price go down, a bit in agony, I must say. It was more than a 5-hour trade. Of course, I would never hold it all the way in full contracts, but let's say take a partial out here, most likely the rest out off here. But then price, so this was just unfortunate. I don't blame myself. The trade was good, the system was correct, and I executed exactly the way it should. I was just unlucky not to get a fill. But then I made a mistake, because what happened when price moves up so violently afterwards, and we still have this untapped liquidity, the trade is still valid. So I actually put it like this. I had the order set to execute. Actually, it was just one button away. The set was exactly the same. And then I would not target the lows, because I think that would be a bit of a stretch to expect it from the market to run there again. But at least to get a, let's say, this wick out, or maybe even further with a runner. Price was, as you can see, price tagged it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. And the 5th time, so I had 4 minutes the time to execute, to pull the trigger, and I did not do it. And yesterday I made a video about the emotional state, that it is actually so important to be in a good emotional state. And what happened, okay, so one, I had this loss. Okay execution, I mean, it was good execution, but it was a B setup, maybe, or B plus at best. So the setup was not screaming at me. So that was the lesson, not to, let's say, take the setup, even though my execution was okay. This was unfortunate, but it gave me a feeling of a bit of anxiety. Oh, I don't want to miss this trade. And what if I miss this trade? It was such a good 4-hour trade. So, you know, all those quite detrimental thoughts or ideas coming from this place of FOMO, fear of missing out. And here I actually got presented with that opportunity, but then I was afraid to get stopped out again and to have a loss in while chasing a certain setup. And this actually gave a perfect setup, but I was too scared to take it. So for this, I blame myself, in a sense that this was avoidable. I could have taken the short, but unfortunately I did not. So that's a lesson for me to, in between, traits, I have it on my checklist, but it's very important to get myself back to a state of emotional acceptance, like an acceptance state to whatever is. So I'll be able to execute a setup when it just occurs. So this was a good lesson for me, because I think in the end this was also a 4R trait. So this I could have hold, but then yeah, 4R trait. Unfortunate, because the analysis was good, but the emotional state was not.